Oh hi, I'm Jamie. This is Dead Dodge Garage, and this is a 71.2 Charger Hideaway headlight setup that needs to be wired. Hideaway headlights are one of the things that make Chargers super awesome. In the first couple years, they used electric motors and a bunch of super complicated switches and relays and stuff. In these cars, 68 and 69s, they had vacuum actuated headlights. In 1970, they went to this type of setup. It was then carried over into 71 and 2. Technically, this information actually applies to just about any 70s Hideaway headlight Mopar. They're all essentially the same. If your setup has a single motor in the center and a rod like this, then this information applies to you. The switch plate that controls all of this is in the motor right here. It's actually kind of goofy and complicated. We were sold this motor for several $100s, supposedly as a good working unit. I did have to waste an hour and a half to turn it into a good working unit, but that's a different story altogether, I suppose. I do have a super horrible ruin motor here we can look in to get an idea of what it's like. There are two sets of points in here, controlled by these little spinning plastic wheelie bobs. Those are actuated by the motor's mechanism here at various points in its rotation, such that it's energized to open in one direction and then energized to close in the other. Unlike the earlier system on the 66 and 7 that required 4 switches, 3 relays, 2 motors, and a whole bunch of wires, it takes exactly 2 power wires and 1 ground wire to make this motor work. Now obviously this 73 Charger was not an original Hideaway headlight car. We've added all of this stuff. So we don't have any of the factory wiring that made it work, but adding that is very straightforward. The factory would have used some horrible old metal cased relay. We don't have that, so instead we're going to use this, a standard 5-pin relay. Now if you look at the diagram here, it shows you the magic that happens inside of this relay. That middle pin, 87A, has power when this relay is off. And that top pin, 87, gets power when it is energized. That means there's power to one of these 2 pins at all times. But that's fine with this motor. That's the type of signal it takes. It switches off the power coming in when it reaches closed or open, and therefore it doesn't draw power or try to melt down or anything like that. So we just use these 2 relay outputs and run them to the appropriate circuits. Given that 87A is the normally energized post, we're going to use that for close, since the natural state we want these headlights to be in is closed until we turn the headlights on. On your headlight motor connector, the closed position is this wire, the hole. The pin that sticks out is the open wire. I spliced in extensions here. That plug I actually cut off of the ruined motor off our spare headlight setup, but you can actually buy those plugs at the parts store. They're pretty standard. Or you could cut it off an old electronic distributor. Anyway, the wires I spliced in have color codes that make sense to me. Yellow for lights on, blue for lights off, light and dark. I also added a ground wire because although the case of the motor is grounded through the car, it's not a consistent ground, and I was having to wiggle this thing around. They have a post here for a ground anyway, so that's fine. Notice the connection is not the tightest. I'll work on that. So there we go. 3 wires that are going to run back here in a harness, which I will make with some electrical tape in a minute here. And then they'll route over here to where I'm going to put the relay. Oh, here's a pro tip. If, like me, you wear nitrile mechanics gloves, make sure you take them off to tape up harnesses, because your gloves will get stuck in the tape, and it really sucks. I don't know about you, but I hate that corrugated plastic wiring wrap crap, so I always wrap my harnesses with electrical tape like this. It looks nicer, cleaner, and it matches the factory stuff. Our relay needs some kind of battery feed, so here's what we're going to use for that. Inline fuse holder and a ring connection. It'll hook right here on our starter relay and run to the relay up by the headlights. Wow, everything's all routed and trimmed up and connected and nice. Here's the battery feed into the relay there on pin 30. The 2 outputs, blue and yellow. A black wire, which is a ground. It's connected here to the other grounds. And then our trigger wire, which is also red for some reason. And here's that trigger wire. I'm going to connect it here to the input of the headlight dimmer switch. That way, as long as the headlight switch is on, that relay will be energized. Whether it's set to high beam or low beam, the doors will stay open. It might be a little cleaner to run that up to the back side of the headlight switch, but frankly, I'm way too lazy to do that. There you go. Kind of crimped and kind of soldered. And now we should be rewarded with squealing, slapping headlight door noises. Nice. And they should stay on when we do this. And then they should close. Oh yeah. Beautiful. I'm sure the horrible noises will stop eventually. Yeah, it's just that easy. As long as your motor's good. I hope I described these circuits in a way that makes sense, but I decided to go ahead and draw a little picture too. You can actually find this diagram online. That's what I did. I'll try to grab a link for that and drop it in the description. Although, to be honest, I'll probably forget. Anyway, you've got your 5-pin relay here in the middle. Now this is your standard 5-pin relay that switches. It switches between 87 and 87A. 87A is what you would call the normally closed contact, which is to say when this relay is not energized, there's power going out through 87A. There actually are 5-pin relays out there that power up both 87 pins when they're activated and both turn off when the relay turns off. Those are usually used for like fog lights and stuff. Just make sure you're getting the standard switching type. Of course, 85 and 86, the numbers for which you probably can't read there, are the wires that energize the relay. One side, in this case, is going to be grounded, and the other side is going to come off the dimmer switch as I showed. It can also come off the headlight switch. Either way works. I'm pretty sure the factory would have run it here, but it was just way easier for me to go through the firewall and right down to the dimmer switch. Now again, it's very important that if you do go to the dimmer switch, you're going to the center pin. The center pin is energized whenever the headlight switch is activated. I want to make this point very clear because at first I wasn't thinking about it right myself, and I tried to power the relay off of the low beam circuit on this side. Then I remembered that when the low beams turn off, the doors would then close. That's bad. You cannot trigger your relay with either headlight circuit. You need to go back to the switch or the dimmer switch. Then of course we've got our motor over here. It's 3 wires. One goes to ground. I ran mine together with the relay ground. You don't have to do that, but that's what I did. And then you've got your open and closed circuit. The open circuit is 87. 87 is the wire that is energized when the relay is engaged. Notice I kind of flipped them here. Anyway, again, as mentioned, the little tit on your 2-pin, that is the wire for the open side. The closed side is the hole. That's going to be powered by 87A, such that when the relay is turned off, it powers up this wire and the motor closes the doors. When the motor closes the doors, a switch in here will break and there will no longer be power flowing through to the motor, so you will be fine having that energized at all times. Did I make that long-winded and complicated enough? I think I did. Oh yeah, I recommend you get the type of relay that has a screw hole and then mount it somewhere. We didn't, so I just taped it to the harness. I think it'll be fine. And it's hidden, so no one will ever know. We got the new grill inserts, but one of them has 2 mounting holes broken off, so that's being repaired by somebody, and then we'll finally get them swapped out. This is gonna look so much better. And then of course, once the new grills are in, we get to adjust the stops and the rod and try and get the lines to actually, align. While I was messing with all that, Tracy did get the ground cleaned up in this taillight socket, and now we've got 2 blinker brakes on the left side. Looks great. Now I actually showed this in a Stone Soup video recently, but we got the exhaust cutouts wired, and they're kind of awesome. Also painful. Oh yeah, it's all literally coming together. It is pretty impressive how violent these doors sound. There you go. That's how you make your late electric Hideaway headlights work. If you have any questions about that, go ahead and ask them in the comments, and I will try and include a link to that diagram. Until then, thank you very much for watching. And remember, it ain't no luck. I learned to duck. Except I didn't. Why am I still smelling antifreeze?